Hello and welcome back to Stick to Fitness, brought to you by myself, Hymsuen, and my co-host, Archie. And if you are stuck in a fitness rut, are you feeling like you're spinning your wheels at the gym? Today, we're going to be exposing the top 5 killers of progress that might be sabotaging your gains. So put your lifting straps on, whack on the pussy pad on your squat bar, Velcro up your shitty lifting belt, and get ready for the truth behind your plateaus. So what's your number 5 or your 5th reason as to why someone isn't progressing in the gym?
Or should we name some and then rank them?
Oh, we could do. Yeah. Go on.
So do you want to type them down? Or
Yeah, I can write them down.
We're going to say
What do you think?
excuses.
Excuses.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuses. I think consistency is one.
Consistency, yeah. Goal, like we talk a lot about having like a goal that you're working towards.
Okay. Yeah.
Or not, or in this case, lack of goal.
Of course.
I
think lifting the same shit every single week.
Yeah, not progressing.
Yeah.
Would we say not tracking?
Yeah, I guess like progressive overload, like poor progressive overload, you could call it.
Got to have something in there about nutrition. Lack of adherence to nutrition.
Is that excuses? Is that consistency? Same thing, right?
Okay.
What were we talking about? Trying to be optimal.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's 5, no?
Is there any more that you can think of? We can throw in there and then pick our top 5.
I think recovery over or under.
Yeah.
And also, I think like program hopping, like short-sightedness.
Yeah. Or not committing to a phase as well.
Yeah.
So put that in there. So that can be like dieting or...
Yeah. Okay, so we've got excuses, consistency, lack of goals, poor progressive overload, trying to be optimal, recovery, and program hopping. What would you put as number 5?
I put program hopping.
Program hopping. Okay. And
what would you put?
Program hopping. Let's see.
Just because then you're never actually.
Yeah, I think so. Either that or recovery, I would say.
Either that or recovery.
Yeah, but I think program hopping is probably...
I'd say recovery is higher.
Yeah, I think program hopping is the lowest.
What, number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, program hopping.
Because, yeah, I think people, like why it's stopping you from making progress is kind of like people are so quick to just give up on the thing that they think is going to stop, or something that doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times, like you need to do something long enough to be able to fine tune it, to critique it, right? You don't just start a program, do it, and it's like, oh, this is perfect, it's going to work. You have to do it and then adapt it a little bit to then tailor it to the way that you want to do it, right? But you shouldn't just fuck it off so quickly. Like, how do you really know if it's not working?
That's what when you go up to people and say like, oh, what are you training today? And they're like, don't know. That kills me. I'm just like, oh, leave me alone.
How do you not know?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I might do a bit of this or I might do a bit of that. And it's like, so what did you do last week?
Surely you would have thought about it before you went to the gym,
man,
right?
there's how many people like honestly say, really? Oh yeah, what's happening, mate? Yeah, you good? Yeah, what are you training today? And like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, you train? Oh, is that I'm training back? Oh yeah, I might jump in with you.
Jump with you. Yeah. What do you want? What did you do last week on this exercise? I've never done this before. Never done this machine.
I've been in the gym before.
Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Just coming in, like, have some sort of like structure to what you're coming in to do. Like just please. That's my biggest. Like, I know it's number 5, but it's my biggest bugbear. Is like you're walking in there blind. Like, you wouldn't go anywhere else, like anywhere, without walking in somewhere and being like, right, this is what I'm here to do this.
I'm
like,
ill prepared.
Yeah, like walk into a restaurant and the waiter goes, oh yeah, what do you want? What do you want? Yeah, nothing. I don't know. I'm not
That's
really,
me though. When I go to eat,
you go like, I'm not really. You go. I'm not really hungry. Just here because I have to be. Like, it's the same thing. It's just like, what are you doing? Come in, pre-look at the menu, know exactly what you want, cook to order.
That's where you should have like this. At the very least, have the same program. Then you're always like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm just going to do this. And this is the same. Because if I go into a restaurant, I'll be like, I don't know what I want to eat. But I know that this is always going to hit my target.
Yeah.
I'm just going to eat that.
Yeah, you know, or like you go into a taxi, like, I quite like pizzas. I'll just order a pizza. Like, just have something, please. It's my biggest bugbear. If you walk into the gym and you don't know what you're training or you don't know what exercises you're doing, just walk back out and start again.
Okay.
So what are we saying for number 4?
I think it's recovery.
Yeah, I could have recovery at number 4 because it's so underrated.
I think it's a little bit of both. So you got people who focus really a lot on recovery, and then you got people who under recover.
I don't think I've ever come across someone who's over recovering.
You don't think so?
I've not come across anyone that's
I think there's loads. Like now, if you look at it's all the science-based guys now. They're like, oh, got fucking deload like way early, like you know, and it's like people are worried about overtraining so much, but you have to fucking train
hard,
to even be able to overtrain.
Yeah, you got to earn the right to rest.
And I see some of these people training, and I'm just like, I'm not even training hard enough. Like people are like, oh, I'm not going to do any rest pause sets, no extended sets, just straight sets because you're going to cause way too much fatigue. You can't track that. And it's like, yeah, but your actual set, maybe you need to do these extended sets and drop sets because you don't take your sets anywhere close to failure.
No, you just come in, put the pin on whatever you feel like on that day. Yeah. That's probably less than what you did last week. Just rep it out. And then I'm gonna have a week off.
Or they look at their logbook and they go, oh yeah, so this last week I did this. I'm gonna do a bit more. But it's like, yeah, but last week you undertrained.
Yeah.
And now this week you're still undertraining, and it's gonna take you 15, 20 weeks to even get even close to that, and then you're gonna deload. It's like, nah.
Just at the other end of the spectrum is I love people that are like, so you go like, oh, how many days a week you train? Like 7. I'm like, 7? Really? Yeah. Wow.
And you watch them.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, they say, well, how many times do you train? I'm like, 4. And it's almost like they're like, oh, yeah, I train more than you. And I'm like, yeah, but have you seen yourself? You made no progress this whole time I've known you. Like you're doing something's not right here. Like I don't think you can train 7 days a week optimally. Anymore. I probably, when I was younger, I probably thought you could.
Maybe you can if you separate your muscle groups. Let's say if you do one muscle group a day. Yeah. I think if you did like, let's say you got chest, shoulders, back, biceps, triceps, you could do.
What, you just do a bicep day and a tricep day?
Yeah, you could do. But then you would, because by the time let's say you do biceps, right? By the time you do that, your leg's going to be recovered if you started with that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's obviously, I just don't think it would be the best. Like how much, like in terms we talk about like consistency, how motivated you could be just to go in and do a bicep exercise.
But you're going to have to do that consistently. Like 7 days a week training is hard because there is no rest.
Shout out the 7 day a weekers, man, who are making no progress.
Have you ever done 7 days a week?
Yeah, when I was younger.
I don't think I've ever done 7 days a week.
Well, you do on prep, kind of, don't you? Not muscle training, but when you're on prep, you do 7 days a week. Cardio.
But like training wise, like actual gym?
Nah, I don't think.
7 days is hard.
I don't think I'll ever go back to like 5. I think 4 is a good.
5 is hard. I'm trying to do 5 at the moment.
5 is tough.
Hard.
If you're training like hard as well and doing like proper lifts and stuff is tough.
But when I'll go back to when I was talking about my best physique. Some days I was training 6.
Yeah.
So if I started Monday, it's like push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, legs. But obviously I wasn't. And then the next week would be 5 and then it would be 6, 5. If it, or 5, 5, 5, 6, 6. And then,
depends how it looks.
Yeah, but I didn't see it as 6 days a week. I saw it as a 4-day portion. So every 3 days I'm getting 1 day of rest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how you kind of have to look at it like that.
Yeah, but
I just think there's so many people as well.
I was definitely recovering a lot better.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a kid.
Oh no, of course. Yeah, you go to bed when you want.
Yeah, I was sleeping. I was freelance PT. I was chilling. You know what I mean? And yeah, that life was very easy to recover from things then. And obviously, as you get older, it gets more stressful. Yeah. So, is it because we can't train 7 days a week or 6 days a week?
There are people. I just think.
Is it just we're not recovering? So many people as well.
You say they're like, "Oh, I'm so tired." And it's like, well, maybe you need to take some time. I can't take time off. What do you mean? I can't take time off. I'll never take time off.
I think as you progress in your like career or your experience as a trainer as well, you can train way harder.
Yeah.
So like maybe I'm looking at 6, 7 years, probably longer than that. 6, 7 years ago, the way that I trained then. I can push myself way harder and more accurately in terms of what I'm doing in terms of lifting. So maybe I can't do what I did before because I just can't recover because I'm able to take my sets way further and much closer to failure.
I think that's the thing as well. It's like if you're talking about doing like heavy lifting, if you're training 7 days a week, like I'm sorry,
it's not going to be heavy at some point, right? Maybe the first week it will be heavy. But then,
the first week, and then all of a sudden you're going downhill.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to recover from it. Like, you couldn't. I remember even me, I used to squat 3 times a week. I was never progressing. I was doing the same weights each time. Doing like a back squat, front squat, back squat rotation. Like,
it depends on how many sets that you're doing, how hard you're pushing. Like if you're just doing one set, maybe you could do it 3 times a week. When I did powerlifting, I did it 3 times a week, but I wasn't to failure.
Yeah.
You know,
reps in reserve.
So if you're doing it multiple, like to failure, fucking that's gonna be
you're gonna kill yourself. So
I think recovery.
Number 4.
Yeah.
What have we got for number 3?
What else we got? So we got training optimally. You got poor progressive overload, lack of goals, consistency, excuses. I think maybe trying to train to optimal.
Do you think people in the gym pop are trying to train optimally, or are they just trying to train?
Again, I guess it depends on who. But I think for a lot of intermediate lifters, like we were talking about, people trying to, they're doing the right thing. Or even actually Gen Pop, if you start, you're doing the right thing, and the only thing that's holding you back is you.
Yeah.
You look and see this person's doing this. Man, I need to do this. Or,
it's program hopping though.
Yeah, but more so you see this thing that, or you're looking for the next, something that's going to help you to reach the more progress. And you're causing your own plateau because you're actually making fine progress, but you're trying to get this 1% more, which is just...
Yeah, it's out of your reach.
There's no need for it.
Yeah.
Right? Or you forget about the things whilst trying to go for that 1%, right? So that's why I think, trying to train optimally can be, a bit of a problem. And like people think, the common one, I went through this as well. It's like, actually, when I was doing the lat pull downs or whatever, back training, it's not accurate. It was shit. My form was shit. So then strip it back, right? I'll pull the weight all the way back, and then make sure, I'm doing the whole stretch and squeeze, feeling it. And then, but what happens afterwards is you still have to go back to what you knew before. It's like, once you have good form, you have to fucking load the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just live off that whole stretch and squeeze.
Can't just live off a feeling, a pump.
Once you nailed the accuracy, your next thing is going back to the root of what you're going to do. Is
and form goes back out the window. And your back still looks shit.
The whole recycle.
So we're saying that for number 3?
I think so. Or 4, whatever.
What are we going to put for 2?
I think we've got like 6 or 7 here, so it's a little bit more than that. So the one before it, it's either lack of goals, consistency, excuses, or poor progressive overload. Oof.
Well, I know what I want as number 1.
I do as well. It's getting harder now.
Are we doing the top 3 now then?
I think so, yeah. Top 3 out of these 4. So one's going to get left out, I guess.
Okay, that's all right.
Excuses, consistency, lack of goals, or poor progressive overload. I think poor progressive overload. It's my next one.
Does that not come into hopping, program hopping though? Because you would never progressively overload if you're always program hopping.
I think it's a little bit of, even when people do train, they're like, they don't necessarily...
They don't take it there, man. They don't take it there.
Yeah, and let's say I see a lot of the times on programs and, clients that put it in, they're like, let's say you're doing 3 sets of 10. It's like 100 kilos, 10 reps, 100 kilos, 10 reps, 100 kilos. And it's like, the next week is the same thing. It's like, but you did it last week. Why are you doing it again for the next 4 weeks? I get that there's some elements of, okay, maybe my form was a bit shit, but I don't think they're thinking in that way.
No. That's why when I was working with someone, it's just, no matter how I tried to explain it, she just wasn't understanding it.
Yeah.
Then it had to be to the point where I would look at her, before she was going to the gym, I'd look at it and then I would input the numbers for her to do on the sheet. Like, so then she would literally just go and do it. And sometimes she'd be like, I can't. No, I can't. And I'm like, we haven't done it yet. You did this literally 2 kilos more than last week. Like, it's not. Yeah. And then at the end of it, it's like, oh yeah, I can do it. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, just did it for 10 last week. You can do like a little bit more for like.
What do you think that is? Like, why do you think people are like that? Like, you've done it last week, or you've done it, let's say, not even last week. You've done it 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Why?
I guess it's understanding the importance of it.
Why are you just choosing to do it again?
I guess it's that comfort zone, isn't it? It's like, no, I can do this. I guess a lot of people. How many people?
Boring.
How many people do you actually see fail in the gym? Like, if you think about it, like not videos online. Or
I mean, they fail within the first rep.
No, but like in terms of like you see someone pick up a barbell and like drop it on their chest, or it doesn't come back up, or like on a machine, like you don't see it. You just see everyone would just be like, I've done 10 reps because I just picked a number that I can do for 10 all the time.
I think they either go one way. They either do sets where they're like loads of reps in reserve, right? And then they couple that with sets where they've just picked the wrong load completely and it's just way too heavy from the first rep. And there's no in between. They start with this is way too heavy and they back it off and they do sets where there's like, this is just so easy and it's pointless.
That's why it's always funny training with people who are obviously not as strong or whatever. It's like, how many sets are you doing here? And I'm like, 3. Yeah. We do 3 and they're like, oh, what are we doing now? And I'm like, no, I'm still warming up. Still got 6.
Doing 10 reps all the way to the top.
Still got 6 more warm-ups to do before you get to your working weight.
What's going on here?
And then really you're doing 9 sets, but 6 are warm-up. Like you're not actually doing anything that's going to cause any like damage to your muscle because it's too light. Yeah. It's all funny, isn't it? Because how many sets is that? Well, it's 3 working sets. That's what it's always about, isn't it? It's not about what you do as a warm-up. Yeah. Like some people will just go straight to their max set. Because
if you're doing 3 sets where they're exactly the same reps and number, let's say 100 kilos, 10 reps, second set's the same, third set's the same. At least one of those sets, you're not pushing yourself hard enough.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to repeat the process.
More than likely the first one.
More than likely, yeah. And even the second one. And then it's like, okay, yes, you may fall in that optimal window of volume where it's like, okay, maybe 15 or 10 to 30 sets, right? Cool. Let's say you hit 15 sets, but at least 2 of those sets of every single one that you're doing, 70% of the sets or 75% of the sets that you're doing are not pushing it to failure or not anywhere close to challenging. So only really 25% of your training is actually effective. Mm-hmm. So then you fall within that range of optimal sets, but you kind of don't because of the context. You're not actually doing this. You're only 25%, so only a small amount of your sets are within that.
Just wasting your time.
The others are just completely the warm-ups.
Just wasting your time.
So it's like you're not. So although you are getting the average set range for muscle growth, but at the same time, look how you're actually doing the sets as well. I think that's a huge one.
Important, yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't make progress as well. That's why I put that so high.
So number 2?
I think it's got to be, for me, top 2 is out of either excuses or consistency.
Not diet?
Not really. Not goals or lack of goals. I think it comes down to excuses or consistency. Yeah. Why? What did you say?
I would have had consistency as number 1.
Yeah.
And then like nutrition based stuff as the number 2.
What was the nutrition based stuff?
So like lack of adherence to the diet.
That's consistency though, isn't it?
Yeah, but you putting it under the same umbrella for training as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I would have consistency as number 1 then.
Yeah. Because let's touch on number 2 in terms of excuses, right? I think that's one of the things that people like limitations that people set on themselves.
There's so many excuses all the time. It's like, no, you didn't do it because you were just not good enough, or
this. Something you have to blame something.
You have to have something. It's never your fault. It's never like just take ownership of like what happened or anything. It's always someone else's fault. It's always like coach's fault.
Yeah. The poor person can't even defend themselves.
They made me do it. Yeah. They forced that donut in my mouth.
It's peer pressure.
Get a grip. Honestly, I think people took more ownership for just like their training and their progress. I think people will be easier for them to come to terms with a lot more as to like whether this is for you or not. Whereas like when you're trying to convince yourself each time it's someone else's fault, someone else's fault, someone else's fault, someone else's fault. Like you're just prolonging the inevitable, which is you're just not going to do what you set out to do. Yeah. And then when you look back at it, you're like, oh.
Because you just think that, and for yourself, that the bad thing about that is that because you're not taking ownership, it's out of your control. So it's like, oh, I can't do this because I can't.
Well, it's all in your control. That's the thing.
But because you're making excuses and placing the ownership on somebody else or something else, that's not within your control. It's like, I couldn't do it because of this, right? It's not my fault.
Blame my coach.
Yeah. So there's like, you got at some point, even if it's not in your control, you got to make it in your control.
Yeah. You better find it quick.
Otherwise, it's not going to happen ever for you. Because if you're constantly blaming somebody else, cool. But
sometimes you've got to blame yourself.
Yeah, you got to think about
I've not been good enough. I've not done what I should have done. And I know
how can I, because then you can control that.
Mm-hmm.
How can I now change something so that I can actually do it?
Exactly. That's what you need to have, that mindset of going into things, is that people are helping me, yes, but it's all on me ultimately. So we said number one, consistency.
I think, you know what? Consistency is a big one because I think people overestimate how consistent they are as well. So people are like, oh yeah, I'm fucking consistent. But consistent 80 or 90% of the time is really fucking high. So I was doing the maths, right? So when people say, yeah, I'm consistent, right? Then you ask them, how often do you miss a session? If you're training 3 times a week, right? Missing more than 2 sessions a month, you're less than 80% consistent. That's wild, right? Because 2 sessions, that's easy, right? To miss in a space. Let's say you got 12 sessions in a month. 2 sessions is easy to miss out.
Yeah, I think
right.
Yeah.
So if you miss more than 2, you're already not 80% consistent, which everyone always thinks they are. Let's say you're eating 4 meals a day, right? And you go over your calories for 5 meals in a month. Again, you're less than 80% consistent.
For the year?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So let's say you eat 4 meals a day.
Yeah.
You do across a week, that's 28 meals. Across a month, that's whatever, right? If you miss 5 meals in that
that's
week,
crazy.
Right, you're already more than 80% like you're not 80%.
Even if you're like trying to gain weight, if you do it, that's crazy.
So that's what I mean. So that's why people, they overestimate. Everyone's always like, I'm at least 80% consistent, right? That's always. But it's like, have you missed more than 2 sessions a month? Yeah.
Well, you're not.
You're fucking.
Yeah, you're way off the mark.
Yeah, you're already like 70-something% consistent. You're not anywhere near what you think you are. And that's why, yeah, consistency makes a big. Actually, when you say you're 80-90% consistent,
yeah,
you're basically almost 100% there. It's just the odd time that
basically
you miss.
a robot.
Yeah, that's what I think. Most people are around 50-60% consistent.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah,
and the rest, because they might be in the gym, but they're just training poor anyway. So then that still counts as a missed session, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a context of the consistency as well,
course.
Right?
Or like even going over your calories is like 1 calorie, or they're going over 1,000.
Yeah, there's a difference, right?
Big difference, but you're still over.
Yeah. What do you think of it? Like, why did you put it as your top one?
I put it because you can. So many people just give up.
Yeah.
Like just give up or don't make progress just from not doing, like you said, the minimum.
Yeah.
If you do the minimum over a long period of time, you're still gonna then eventually. Then if you ramp that up to doing like more, exceeding expectations and things like that, then over the course of a year or 2 years, or however long, just turning up and being like,
it's not even, you don't even need to be optimal.
No, you just need to be doing it.
Yeah,
you just need to be there. Like even if you
put yourself in a position.
If you're doing like 5 exercises each time, and the first 2 like you give it 100% and progressively overload them, then the other ones you might do a little bit less, do like pump stuff. Even that still just over the course of like, it's always like when you talk about, if you said to someone, obviously it gets harder as you progress or whatever, but if you bench 1 rep for 100 kilos and you progress that by 1 rep each week, 53 reps.
Yeah.
That you progressed. Like if you could manage that, for example, or like you added like 2.5 kilos to a lift each week for the whole year, you added like, what's that? God, quick math. Was adding a kilo, 52, half. You added like something like 12.5 something kilos or whatever it is. And do you know what I mean? Or if you added imagine if you added a kilo to your deadlift each week.
That's crazy.
It's 2 kilos gained.
It's a big PB.
If you were just doing 1 rep and you started like at whatever you had. Like if you said in a year you're going to gain 52 kilos on a lift.
That's big, isn't it?
That's massive. That is huge.
Yeah. But people give up because they didn't gain a kilo in like 2 weeks. Or something
exactly. But it's just like, little things over time. And it's not always something that you're going to be able to see as well. It's the same with like fat loss and stuff. It's like, just be consistent with it.
But people want that same result. They want that consistent result in terms of, at the start, they get 5 kilos lost, let's say, for example, but they want that to continue on and continue and get 5. It's like you have a diminishing returns when it comes to that.
If you lost 5 kilos a week, you'd be dead.
Yeah, you didn't.
Or even 5 kilos a month is a lot as well, isn't it? Man. Like, if you think about you want to lose 20 kilos, then you can do it in 4 months.
It depends how heavy you are, right? For 200 kilos, it's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's a good rate of loss, actually.
Standard, isn't it?
No, I'd definitely consistency. Just be consistent with it. But part of that is giving it a go and giving it a fair crack as well, and being like,
turn up for it.
Can I commit? Yeah. Like, you have to ask yourself that question.
That's why
kind of go in.
That's why school exists, right? Because they want you to that's why they do. You monitor people's attendance, right? It's like, we don't care what you do, but as long as you turn up to lesson, you're gonna at least ingest something. You're not going to be a complete
something
right?
like anyone. If you're below 9%, then if you're below 9% attendance, like you're 9% less likely to get a grade 4 at GCSE level, because you, over the course of 5 years, 90% is you've missed hundreds of days of school.
That's basically school,
which is like
right?
6 hours. So you've missed however many hours of learning and stuff. So it's the same thing, isn't it? So just come to my head. If I was a gym owner, at the end of each month, I'd send out your attendance to the gym. Send out your attendance to the gym. You have to take into context. So when you sign up, you say how many days are you going to train?
Yeah.
Then obviously when you swipe in or whatever, then you can track and see like.
But then what if people now, you see, oh shit, I've not come in now. I'm gonna quit. It happens, right? You get the opposite.
Yeah,
so that's probably why gyms don't do that.
Depends what you're in it for.
That's it.
As an owner, what are you there? You have to help the people or just make money? Make money, probably.
Make money, innit? That's
100%.
100%. I think there is an attendance thing on like pure gyms and your
memberships. Yeah, no, they get like, because then they try and use it as rules. It's like, oh, you've attended 10 sessions like this month, you get like a whatever.
And the nut jobs that come in twice a day.
Yeah, you've been in twice a day. We're going to ban you because you're
sharing your pin.
Yeah, you're actually getting your money's worth.
Yeah,
we're not letting you in.
Meanwhile, you're just on prep. You have to train 2 times a day.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, consistency number 1. Stay consistent.
So what were we going for? Number 1 is consistency. Second was excuses. I think then it was poor progressive overload, trying to be optimal, recovery, and program hopping are bottom. Those are our top ones. There you have it. Our top 5 reasons for not making progress. Let us know how many you've ticked off. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a review on iTunes and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you feel stuck in a rut, doing all the stuff that we just mentioned, you can find me on Instagram @gymwithhim, and my co-host is @Archie13 with 2 E's. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.